Buffalo Bills are en route to the playoffs.
Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah,
Buffalo Bills go undefeated. And we're going to the Super Bowl.
right
Yeah.
now, baby.
Say you will.
Come on, come on.
Say you will.
No one
Come on
circles the
and
wagon
shout.
like the Buffalo Bills.
All right, and we are live and we are back. Listen, I'm so excited because it's football time, and we're coming with you with another edition of our Overdue Bills podcast, and we have a special guest with us today. But before I get into our special guest, let me introduce my guy, Matty Ice, a.k.a. Matt the Scammer, a.k.a. Matt COVID. Well, you know, he said he got his vaccine, but we're not going to talk about that yet. But, Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be back. We start off the season with a bang with our guest today. I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And without any further ado, we have Ken here, but affectionately known as Pinto Ron. How you doing, Mr. Ken? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm getting excited. It's almost that time of year again. It's been a long time.
Absolutely. It's been a long time coming. We had a great season last year. Left sort of on a somber note, but a good note as well. We got further than we've gotten since really I've been alive. But no, seriously. But we're grateful definitely to have you on. But let's do a little, housekeeping before we dive right into this interview. Matt, can you let the people know who we're sponsored by?
Yes, this podcast is brought to you by none other than Buffalo Wing Kings. Being from Buffalo, there's two things the guys here at the OBP know. That's Bills football and that's wings. Buffalo Wing Kings. At Buffalo Wing Kings is Wings 101. With over 101 different flavors and a beloved Wing of the Month special, they're sure to school any other wing place around. Opening a new location in the University District on Main in the next couple months. Look out for that. Available for all Bills games, all parties, celebrations, whatever you need. Stop by their Elmwood location now, located at 484 Elmwood Avenue, or give them a call at 716-248-1427 and find out why they say, and we know, they have the best wings around, hands down. And make sure you mention our name, because if you mention our name, Overdue Bills Podcast, you get 10% off your order.
Absolutely. Shout out to Buffalo Wing Kings. Please get your wings. Season is coming up. Wings has gone up, but definitely secure that. But listen, let's dive right into the interview. And we just have a few questions for you. But where we want to start is sort of just to give us some background, right? Like where you're from. And I would love to know, like, when did the Bills fandom start? Like, right, like at what timeline was it? Were you little boys, like were you growing up? But like, at what time did that start? So if you can, like, where you're from, and then get into like when did your Bills fandom start?
Oh, it started a long time ago when I was a boy. In the 60s, believe it or not.
Wow.
Talk about you being alive. It all started in the mid-60s when the Bills were just past their championship years. I was probably about 7, 8, or 9. We'd go over to our grandparents' house all the time to watch the game on Sunday, and the Bills weren't doing so well, and my parents and the grandparents were all quitters. And I hate quitters. It really makes me mad when we were losing by 2 touchdowns and they quit and wanted to turn the TV off. And then I think in 68, they wanted to lose all the games, last couple games, because they wanted to draft this guy called O.J. Simpson.
Wow.
And that really made me mad that they were rooting to lose. And so I started getting emotionally into it just because I was so mad at my relatives. And then they did draft O.J. That worked out okay. And I don't think I've missed a Bills game since 1973, real time. In other words, TV, radio. And I just got sucked into it in the 70s pretty hard. I kind of have an obsessive compulsive personality. So if I get started on something, I just don't stop.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Sam.
I wanted to, so you'll say like in the 70s, that's when it kind of like turned, like.
Oh yeah.
So like
you
can go.
It was specifically O.J. Simpson when he was going for the record in 73.
Yep.
I mean, I was still young, but I'd turn on the TV. I'd have my pencil. I'd have my paper. We didn't have the internet back then. You had to add it up yourself. So at the end of every game, and then I was waiting for Monday. I had to get the paper to compare it to everyone else because you didn't have ESPN to tell you. And I just got all into it at that point because of the O.J. Simpson 1973 season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you were the original statistician at school, man. Like, nope, OJ. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you said you started. Now we had a substitute teacher who was on the Bills during I believe one or two of their championship years. Al B. Miller. He was a center. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I know that name. Right.
Yep. So that's just a little small connection we have. He was a substitute teacher at our school, and we used to always ask him about it. He never liked to talk about the glory days. But
yeah, there was 2 glory days for the Bills.
mid
'60s and then mid '90s.
Yep.
Or early '90s. Yeah.
Yeah. That's about when we came onto the scene. So we missed. This is going to be our glory time. Hopefully,
Oh yeah, for me, this is just Back to the Future. I've been through this already.
Yeah.
I was probably about your age in the '90s when they started, or late '80s when they started really rolling. So I know exactly what you're about to go through.
Oh man, I'm excited. I can't wait. Yeah, hopefully, I can't wait.
If I can ask you this, because a lot of times, we have a lot of, fanatics, so to speak. And obviously people get popular, through those things. And you being a Bills fan for such a long time, but people really forget that, you don't just have these antics for the Bills, but you actually love the team and you're studying the team all year round. Right. And
absolutely.
We kind of lose that. But like, if I can, before Matt gives this question, if I can ask you, like, just going into this season, right? What are some things that you are looking at? You don't have to get into specifics, but just a couple things like, okay, I'm really anticipating this specific thing. Is it a D-line thing? Is it offensive line? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, point you in a direction, but I'm just throw that out there, just a blanket question for you.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at the secondary right now on that one side. Levi Jones and Dane Jackson, I think
Absolutely.
it is. I think our offensive line is together for the second year. The same people, and continuity is going to start in. I think one of the biggest things is we are playing better opponents this year.
Yeah.
And we can play even better than last year, but not have the 13-3 record. I got to see if Josh steps up even farther, or even if he just stays where he is. I think he's going to step up, but a lot of teams got film on him right now.
Absolutely.
And so he's going to have to step up just to stay where he is right now. The defensive line, with Starr back in there, that is huge.
Huge.
When 2 years ago, he wasn't getting enough credit. He's a space eater. He was keeping blockers off of Edmonds and Milano, and he was taking double teams. The double teams he was taking was taken away from Hughes. With him back in there, if he plays like he did 2 years ago, that's a game changer because people aren't going to get into our middle linebacker, and they're going to double team him and leave Hughes or the other side open. That's the biggest game changer, I think, is if Starr comes back like Starr was 2 years ago. And a lot of people didn't give him a lot of credit because he doesn't get the tackles.
Absolutely.
But he's a bowling ball out there.
For sure. No, I think I believe Leslie Frazier quoted today that that's the happiest person he's glad to see back because the happiest person the linebackers want to see because they're able to run a lot more freely with him there, and he's also going to be Ed Oliver's best friend because he's not going to be taking on those doubles. And I agree 100%.
Yeah, and it's going to be Edmonds' best friend too because I don't know how many times we saw an offensive line push Edmonds around last year. And offensive lines weren't touching Edmonds in 2019. For sure.
Yep. So I'll get into the next one though. You said you haven't missed a game. I think I read your streak is it 427 or something like that?
Yeah. Well, it depends on how you count last year. Prior to 2020, I was at 423. And I did manage to go to all the road games that the other cities opened up. I was in Arizona, Miami, Kansas City, Tennessee. So if you add those on, I'm probably up to 23 plus 5 more. I don't know. I don't know the rules of how this works this year.
No, it's funny because you kind of inspired my brother. We've had season tickets for 9 years and he hasn't missed a game. We haven't gone to all the away games, but he's doing it on a smaller scale. He's like, I'm not missing any home games at least.
Right. That's a start.
I got to keep my streak. I got to keep my streak going. So
yeah. Then then you'll kind of go to your first road game one year, and then the next year you might go to two, and it becomes kind of infectious, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
When you realize it doesn't cost as much as you think. Most of the road games are close.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, if you draw a circle around Buffalo, or where I live, Rochester, New York, if you draw a circle around Rochester, 2/3 of the team are within a 12-hour car drive. So it's not as daunting as it seems.
Okay.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because you coming to the games, such a huge thing that kind of, I guess, took off. I guess maybe 3 years ago was the Buffalo Bills and its tailgating, right? Like that's something that has taken off. Like ESPN, all the major publications have been picking it up. But if I can ask you this, just a lighthearted question before we get into some, real nitty gritty tailgating stuff. What is one of your pet peeves of tailgating? And before we get into that, we have another ad, Matt. And it may be another pet ad. Matt, let the people know.
Yes. So this question segment is going to be brought to you by the good people at Buffalo Pet Supply. Do you have a pet? Are you looking for a pet? Or you know somebody who has a pet? And there's only one place to send them for everything that'll make that pet live its best life. Buffalo Pet Supply. Specializing in fish, small animals, and reptiles, the knowledgeable staff at Buffalo Pet Supply can get you set up or maintain whatever setup you have. Stop down and see the family-owned operated staff located at 1345 Military Road in Kenmore, or give them a call at 716-874-1951.
Okay, so Mr. King, can you tell me like some pet peeves of tailgating?
I had a whole commercial to think about that. No one's ever asked me that question before. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't really have any pet peeves. And I'm sitting there thinking, what don't I like?
Okay.
Well, then I'm sitting there thinking, well, I don't like cleaning up,
Same.
It takes me literally a couple hours after the game to clean up that epic mess that we make in the Hammer lot.
Wow.
I don't particularly care about waking up at 5:30 in the morning to be in the Hammer's lot at 6 o'clock. I don't know how many times I've rolled over with the alarm going off, sitting there screaming and yelling and swearing at myself, telling me, why can't I just be a normal person?
Yeah.
But then as soon as I get my foot in the Hammer lot, that thought goes away. But I really wake up. Just I've retired so many times at 5:30 in the morning.
So okay, so we'll say you don't like cleaning up. Is there anything else that you don't like or do like something that is kind of necessary for you to do it? No.
No, I've never thought about that. I like everything.
Okay.
During the actual tailgate itself, I have no peeves and I like everything.
Wonderful.
One thing I don't do during the tailgate that would surprise everyone is I don't eat anything.
Really?
And it's not that I don't eat anything on purpose, like I got some ritual or something like that. It's just that I'm so busy running everything or talking to everyone that I'll get into the game and I'll suddenly realize, hey, what did you have to eat today? And I'll be thinking and come out with, well, that guy did hand me one chicken wing or something like that. And then I'll get after the game and everyone will be all over me and I spend hours cleaning up and somehow I find myself over to the Big Tree Inn, for the late game. And then I'll get home and I'll ask myself the same question. What'd you have to eat today? And I'll realize it was still that same chicken wing that I talked about. So
liquid
I
lunch and liquid
tailgate party. Maybe that's something. Maybe that's an improvement opportunity this year.
For sure. Definitely got to stop and pause and definitely have a plate of something.
But it's not a pet peeve that I don't eat. It's just something that I need to improve on.
So let me.
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Let me ask you this real quick then. On that tailgating, like when did that start? Right? Because I mean, I don't. Obviously, I'm only 28 years old, so I only have recollection of maybe 20 years, maybe a little bit before that. But like for you, I know you said like your Bills fandom started in '73, but like when did kind of tailgating for you kind of start, and when did it like go to the next level? Do you remember that?
Well, I started getting to the stadium early enough to actually hang out and try to cook a burger or something like that. Probably about 82, 83, or 84. But we'd get there like at last minute. I remember for years we'd have all our hot dogs and hamburgers, and we get caught in a traffic jam and get there too late to unpack anything. But as it exists right now, the shenanigans on the Pinto, that started in 1989. So this is going to be the 33rd season cooking on that car.
Yeah. So what, you drive the Pinto there, or how do you? Because I know it's like you drive it. Okay.
I drive it. I live in Rochester. The Pinto's in my backyard right now. So just before the first game, I'll drive it out there, and I keep it locally. So I actually, for for a 1 o'clock game on Sunday, I actually get to the Hammers lot Saturday at about 1 o'clock. It's my 24-hour rule. So I'll run in and get the Pinto where it locally is. Bring it over and start the pre-tailgate Saturday afternoon.
Nice. Yep. Yeah, I always wondered that, like, if you drove it there or towed it, because like I always walk by the Hammers lot as I park in ECC. That's where we do ours. So I'm always there, and it's always too crazy for me to get in there. You know what I mean? But I always wondered that though when I saw everything in the tailgate. I'm like, how the heck does they get all that in there?
Yeah, well, I'm there Saturday afternoon, so I have a lot of time to prepare. I can unpack a lot of stuff and I can get whatever I can do on Saturday, getting things pushed around. I'll do that, so it's less hectic at 6 o'clock in the morning Sunday.
Yep. No, that's good. So I know, like, some of you guys have your rituals and stuff there. I know one of the big ones is the bowling ball. Shot. So how did that come about?
Well, it's back to that obsessive compulsive disorder that I have, I guess. Back in the late 80s, even before I started before I started the shenanigans on the Pinto, we had it was a crew of us there. We had a little ritual. We had a triple shot glass, like third period, second period, first period, like a hockey glass. And so we had three distinct periods of the day. One just before we went in, where we do our first period shot, second period shot, third period shot, and we had to do it at exactly right to the minute that time, or the world was going to collapse or something like that, and the Bills were doomed. Well, somebody dropped that glass one day and broke it, and it's like we were horrified. It's like I was running around all the cars around us looking for a shot glass because Dixie cups just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Couldn't find a shot glass, but somebody looked in my car and saw an old bowling ball there. That bowling ball we had in the car for a different reason that it definitely can't do today, but nevertheless it was there. And so somebody said, look, that's like a shot. Let's do it out of that. So for that game, we did our rituals, the proper time, using that bowling ball as a shot glass. I assured them I was going to have a shot glass back for the next home game, but I, was running late and didn't get the shot glass. It's like, I'll pick one up Sunday morning type of thing. And it didn't take too long before the bowling ball became our new ritual.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So with that being said, and kind of to put a button hook on this tailgating, did the Bills, because I know you're a season ticket holder, did they like send out any correspondence in reference to tailgating and like the whole COVID thing going on? Like, is it required for you to wear masks, or is it tailgate? Like, are you allowed to tailgate this year? Is that a thing?
The Bills have sent out nothing except that they're planning on having full capacity and stuff like that. The Bills can't really do that. That's dictated by Erie County, and they're holding it close to their vest. We're anticipating that it's going to be a full crowd and that the tailgating won't be limited. Like some cities during COVID era, if they were parking cars, you'd have every other spot, so your capacity would be cut in half. Yeah. But the Bills can't send anything out. They have to wait for Erie County, and Erie County is going to wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what governments do.
Yeah, just wondering if the bowling ball ritual is going to be able to stay the same with COVID. You know what I mean? People would be kind of a little leery of taking a shot.
Definitely have to adjust a few things this year. As far as the bowling ball is concerned, no, I can't put it in front of the bar and just have a line of people like I usually do.
For sure.
Have two bartenders passing it. What I am going to do is it's not going to be in front of the bar. I'm going to kind of turn my van into kind of a little speakeasy, just a few people, I'll issue the bowling ball shots. But I went out and got as a joke, but it could be used. I got a whole pile of bottles of vodka 151, which is 75% alcohol, which is 5% above CDC guidelines. So when I give out a bowling ball shot this year, I not only will prevent COVID, but I will cure it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it by ear, as things go on.
Sure.
A lot of my close regulars and stuff. Yeah, sure. I got disinfectant things. I'll let them, do it kind of out of the van, kind of like a speakeasy in my van.
For sure.
But
do it.
I just got to play it by ear, see how, society wants to progress forward.
Okay.
If I get too many people who are frowning and don't like it, well, then I stop it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the vodka 151 will help out a little bit.
For sure. Nice.
So how did the ketchup and mustard ceremony start? Like how does that just come out?
That evolved over quite a few years.
Okay.
That started, I believe, in about 1989. You know,
Wow.
almost. Yeah, I know everything's older than you.
I know.
What happened once is I had a hamburger and my brother was there and he was holding a ketchup bottle and I wanted some ketchup for the hamburger. Literally, I said, "Hey Frank, could you throw some ketchup on my burger?" So I hold it out. And I had this expectation that he was just going to do what normal people do, a little ketchup. But he like shot it from 8 or 9 inches away, like that. It was like whoa, and that was pretty cool. So the next time I wanted it later or the next week or something like that, he stood back and he tried to shoot it about 1.5 foot and. I started backing up more and more. Then I started holding my arm out a little bit. And he'd try some more challenging shots to get it. And I think by the next year, we had somebody standing on the car. Coach John would call him. And then as the years went by, I wasn't trying to get it on me. I would hold my arm way off to one side. And John would try to shoot it as high as he could. And I would try to run under it, get the ketchup on the burger without getting on me. Well, when we start getting more aggressive and how far, of course, I'm going to start getting drops and stuff like that on me. And now we're talking 30 years of evolution. I was starting to get more and more, and then I had to start changing my clothes a little bit, wash my face a little bit, and then it came to a point in the early 2000s where I realized this was getting undoable, and I had to have a cleanup routine.
Yeah.
So I developed a cleanup routine. It only takes about 10 minutes. We got like 5 gallons of water. I stripped the shirt off. They pour it over my head. Got a team of people working on my ears like a NASCAR crew, and then I go to bed and change the clothes. So once I realized that I had a great cleanup routine, it only took less than 10 minutes. I suddenly realized that it didn't matter what they dumped on me. It takes exactly the same amount of time to clean out.
Wow.
So that's when we started throwing lots of people on the van, 3 ketchups, 3 mustards. So it started to look like it does now when I found a way of cleaning up.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get on your PR team, man. I'm gonna try to get you a check from like Clorox or something, man. Put you in a commercial. Every Sunday we get it off of them in 3 minutes so he can go to the game.
It's so easy to clean up. I do it right in front of everyone, and people still can't figure it out. It's like I go to a phone booth and come out, like Superman in a costume or something. I'm just standing outside my van door shirtless, which hurts a lot in December. I'll tell you that. And I got 2 people holding 5 gallons of water over my head. It's no different than taking a shower or just rubbing, And the ears are a little tricky until we decided to put a team of people on my ears. So they got their napkins and they're drilling in there, and then I change the clothes.
I'm gonna say, how does it work? Like, do you go through like 1,000 t-shirts or like 20 t-shirts a year for this ritual or what?
Well, there's only eight home games a year.
Yep. Obviously.
Yeah. And I have about 10 or 12 of those t-shirts. Each t-shirt will last about 5 or 6 games. And the reason that they won't last that much longer is I really bleach them to death to get all the mustard and ketchup out. But I do that at the end of the season. My wife doesn't like this too much, but when I bring the t-shirt home, it's wadded up in a plastic bag and I put it in the bottom of our freezer. And so I freeze it a little bit moldy. Sometime in April, I pull them all out and I clean them all at once in the same day.
Oh, wow. That's
man,
interesting.
we're gonna have to get a t-shirt plug too, man. I'd like to talk to you after the show here.
Some guy gave me about 20 of the same type.
Yep.
Well, it's a white Buffalo Bills t-shirt. It's white.
Okay.
Ketchup shows up really well in the white.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. So is it the same? Is it the same guy who does it every week, or I know I've seen like a couple different people sometimes, but
originally it was the same person all the way until the mid 2000s, I think.
Yep.
Then when we started then everyone wanted to go up there, so I had to start rotating different people up each week. So there's one girl that's been a constant. My starting mustard girl, I call her, Kimmy. She's been the only mustard girl I've had for 20 years. So she's a constant. Everyone else rotates a bit. Yeah.
So I have 2 questions. One's kind of serious, semi-serious, and one is just, feel free to give me what you got. So was there ever a point in your, Bills fandom where you hit like a lull? And what I mean by that is not necessarily where you was going to give up on the Bills, but it was just like an ongoing onslaught of just losses after losses, losing season, bad coaching, bad, personnel. Like, was there ever can you remember ever a point where it's like maybe a 3, 4, 5 year span where it's like, okay, this is just becoming to be too much?
No, I never went through that bottoming out.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that distinguish a Bills fan from a lot of other fans around the National Football League is that a higher percentage of people will just stick with the team no matter how bad it's going. I'd always be
Absolutely.
enthusiastic. I always tell people during those times that a good Bills fan has to be in a constant state of denial, and I represented that state of denial perfectly. But
Absolutely.
no, I never hit those lows. You know,
That's amazing.
Interesting. And let me ask you this: what? Because I don't know. I just seen this out there, on social media. There is a contingency of people who do think that sort of the fanatic, not like the regular fan, but you really become famous, right? And we've had other quote unquote famous Bills fans and famous Jets fans. I know the firefighter. I mean, they're all around, right?
Fireman Ed. Yeah.
Yeah, Fireman Ed. So some people suggest that they sort of take the spotlight away from the team. Now, what do you say to that?
I don't really think so. When you get into the game itself, everyone's focused on the game. You see Elvis on TV in the screen a little bit or something like that, but I don't really think they're taking the focus away from the game because Bills fans, once you get in there, you're really focused on the game, whatever the last play was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just wanted to ask that to see.
I don't. For them personally, I question sometime whether some of the costume people take the focus away from themselves. In other words, they're not as much into the game as they could be.
Right,
I never go into the game with a costume. In fact, this is my costume. I'm always kidding people. If I take it off, you won't recognize me. Who's that guy there? Oh, he's old.
Yeah, no, it's.
But no, I don't think those people take away from the game. I think a lot of the fans and stuff like to see those people. But they only see him cursory, a little bit on the screen here, a little bit there. It just adds a little flavor to the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yep. No, for sure.
Yeah.
So I just gotta ask, going back to the ketchup and mustard ceremony. Now, who is maybe your favorite guest that you've had do it that wasn't a regular? Like, I'm sure you've had some famous people come in and or even like old players come back and do it, right? So
well, I've had a number of football players up there, but my favorite one, or the one I like, is I'm also a NASCAR fan, big NASCAR fan, big IndyCar fan too. And I don't know if you guys or anyone, I'm sure some of the people listening to this are, but Colton Herta is an IndyCar driver.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good too. He's you think he placed third last year. But yeah, I had him up there one time.
Wow.
And
That's
the
awesome.
person who asked me if this new driver could go up there was Al Unser Jr. So I had Al Unser Jr. personally asked me if his driver could be up there being a ketchup person. So that just tickled me. I like that.
Yep,
But I had Steve Johnson up there. He's a good personality. And Sean Merriman up there one time. He almost broke my van. Jumping up and down. I thought the thing was going to collapse just like a Miami condo for a while.
A bit of who's who. Now that's wonderful. And really what I want to ask, I'm just interested because I know, you follow, more than the average fan, obviously. And so what are your predictions, right? Because I know talking to Bills fans at work and just anywhere, sometimes we can go overboard, but I don't do you have a realistic, projection of where we should be or where we're going to be this season?
Well, I always say I'm never going to go to a game I think we're going to lose.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to all of them. So you know my predictions already. Because I won't go to the game if I think we're going to lose.
Right.
But if I was, say, a Kansas City fan looking at the Bills right now, not me,
Yep.
I'd probably say that that they wouldn't be finishing 13-3, maybe 12-4. Like I said earlier, I think that if they step up, they're going to stay in the same spot because I think the teams they're playing are more challenging this year than last year.
For sure.
Absolutely. It's funny. I just said 12-4. Somebody asked me, or somebody told me that the Bills were going to go 13-3, but I said 12-4. But I'm glad we're in lockstep. Matt, do you have anything else?
Really, it's kind of going. We're not going too much in order here. I kind of just got the last question. What's your favorite Bills moment that you've seen throughout the years? I know you've seen a lot of great ones.
Well, my favorite Bills game is what people usually ask me. My favorite Bills moment hasn't happened yet.
Right, absolutely.
It almost happened, but whoops, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It almost happened, but the kick went wide.
Yeah.
My favorite Bills game was the I think it was it was January 1991. It was the first Super Bowl we went to, but it wasn't a Super Bowl. It was the game that got us to the Super Bowl, the championship game.
Yep.
Because it was halftime, and we were winning something like 42-3 or something like that. And you knew at halftime that we were going to go to the Super Bowl. And you still had an entire half of football to sit there and run around the stadium and just go crazy. And that was back when you could actually run around the stadium and get drunk and stuff like that. You know, can't do stuff like that anymore. It'll be outside the stadium pretty quick. But that was my favorite all-time game.
Do you have a favorite player?
Fred Jackson is on top of my list right now.
Wow.
I'm not sure if he's been out of football for 5 or 6 years yet. I was saying Fred Jackson for a while, but you know, I try to last the 5 years, you know, for Hall of Fame type criteria, you know. But I'd say Fred Jackson. I mean, I was an OJ fan. I'm still an OJ fan.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm a fan of, you know, Thurman and you know, the usual gang, but Fred Jackson, he was a class act.
Yes.
He was a great player and he represented Buffalo well.
I mean, he still does too. You know, he's still here. Still, you know, I think he's in Hamburg or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You see him about.
There is one other player I throw out as a flyer once in a while when people ask me this question, because he was one of my top players for a number of years. It was Lou Pacone. And I know you're going to get this really confused look on your face right now.
Yeah.
What's a Lou Pacone?
Yeah.
He was a Steve Chasker-like guy in the early 80s. Just a tough, gritty guy, special team, played wide receiver, had 32 catches one year. But he just, for me, I loved the guy at the time.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But Fred Jackson, I'm going to say he's the guy. You know, he's
For
my
sure.
favorite.
Yep. No, I love Freddie myself. But.
Shout out to Fred Jackson. When I was I think when we were in high school, we went to the Bill Stadium, and I was, you know, pleasured to throw a pass to Fred Jackson.
Cool.
Some people say it looked like a young Josh Allen, but that's neither here nor there. We don't have to get into that. But listen, Mr. Ken Pinto, Ron, for those of you out there in the general public, we're grateful, man. This was a wonderful interview. We're grateful for you to come on. Shout out to my guy Matt. You know what I mean, for reaching out, and you know, it's just been a treat. It's been a treat. Do you have any last words?
Oh no, it's just let's have a great season and go Bills.
Yes, sir. Hope to see you, man. I'll probably have to stop by this year, if you know, because just like you, I'm on the small scale right now. I'm in the setting up and I'm my tailgate. We're 15, 20 people, and I'm in the setup and cooking. I'm on that duty, so I feel you. But you're on a 10 to 15 times larger scale than me. So I'll try to stop in.
Long enough and stupid enough, you'll get known for it, you know.
Absolutely.
Stupid and don't stop.
Wonderful. And listen, as it is customary, you all know we end every show with a little bit of hey, 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 hey.
Hey.
All right. Little rusty, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there in a minute. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ron. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.